Hello, my name's Carol Wallace and I'm Principal Lecturer for Food Safety Management at the University of Central Lancashire. I'm also a trustee of the Royal Society for Public Health, and I'm here today because I'm a founding member of our new special interest group in food safety culture. I'm going to be doing a series of interviews with people from the food industry about food safety culture and what it means to them and in their organisations. And today I'm starting that off with an interview with Lone Jesperson, who's the Director of Food Safety Strategy at Maple Leaf Foods in Canada. Morning, Lone, and thank you very much for agreeing to talk to us today at the Royal Society for Public Health.
You're quite welcome.
What I'd like to do today is explore with you food safety culture and what that means to Maple Leaf Foods. But I thought it'd be useful if we could start with a little bit of background first of all. So could you tell us a bit firstly about Maple Leaf Foods and the product range that you have, please?
Absolutely, Carol. Maple Leaf Foods is the largest producer of processed meat products in Canada. As such, we have about 19,000 employees. We currently have 25 locations of production, and all our products are currently sold in Canada. It's a fairly old company, of course not by European standard, but we have been around in some format for the last 100 years.
And Maple Leaf Foods, as many people know, was the focus of a large outbreak of listeria a number of years ago now, which was a really difficult experience, I know. Could you tell us a little bit about what happened in the outbreak?
Yes, it was a very unfortunate event. In 2008, on August 25th, Maple Leaf was connected to a series of deaths via DNA testing. It's a part of our history that turned our company into something very different than what it was before 2008, and our effort for changing food safety, both the systems and culture in our company has never been the same since that very unfortunate event.
Okay, and so, as you say, through the outbreak, the company obviously realised that they needed to change their structure and systems. Can you tell us a bit about how the new structures were set up and the new systems and how that's working now today?
Yes, for sure. We had operated a very traditional structure before the 2008 outbreak, where food safety was a subcomponent of our operations. So manufacturing leaders also had direct responsibility for food safety. After the event, very shortly after, our CEO made the announcement of the hiring of a chief food safety officer, reporting directly into our CEO. That was a completely new structure that is still to this day a little bit not a very traditional way of structuring a food company, but it was a very important part for Maple Leaf for us to both to signal to our consumers that we are working hard to regain your trust, but also to have somebody at the helm that could really drive that change in our culture and our systems for food safety that we knew we had ahead of us in 2008.
Okay.
Further to that, we also established an external food safety advisory council, and which is still alive and kicking today, I'm happy to say. So it's a group of 6 individuals, very experienced people in food safety across the globe, who come in 2 times or 3 times a year, meet with us to discuss, are we on track? Are there some emerging risks for food safety that we do not have our finger on today, and help us discuss through if we should in the future. It acts almost as our external board of directors for food safety, and it's a very important part for our culture because they really keep us on our toes. They're incredibly transparent and very good at what they do.
Okay, I'd like to talk now a bit more about food safety culture, and so maybe just start off by if you could tell us what food safety culture means to Maple Leaf Foods and the employees now.
Right. As you know, it's a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, Carol, and I think the first thing we really did with Maple Leaf was to acknowledge that food safety culture is part of our organizational culture. So it's not an add-on. It's not an afterthought. It's something that we are working hard at every day and will be for many years to build into our organizational culture. So our set of values is not specific to food safety. It's not specific to people safety. It is specific to Maple Leaf and how we govern ourselves every day. So when I look at food safety culture from a Maple Leaf perspective, I really look at how we build it into our organizational culture. Having said that, it's also one of the things we acknowledged early on in 2009 is going to take us the longest time to change. I mean, we all have habits. We all know as individuals how hard it is to change habits and behaviors. And we're now, this August, when we're 6 years down the road of our strategy for enhancing our food safety culture. And it's now starting to penetrate again the plant floor, because we acknowledged very early on we had to drive culture from the top down. It is a hierarchical endeavor to enhance your culture. It needs to start at the top, and it takes time in a company of our size and complexity to really drive it down to the plant floor.
I'm also interested in terms of how you balance the cultural aspects of food safety with the technical and systems aspects like HACCP. So in your experience, how do you actually do that? What's important to get right and to get that balance?
I think one of the things that's really important at Maple Leaf is how we have redefined our HACCP teams. I don't think you can necessarily separate culture and the technical side of food safety. Both are integral to making safe, great tasting products for our consumers consistently. So our approach right now is that we're looking at how can we redefine our HACCP teams to become sort of that epicenter, if you like, for food safety at a site, at a plant. And what that means is that food safety is owned by everybody, but we're not going to expect everybody to be experts in hazard analysis. And we're not going to expect that everybody can necessarily join the HACCP team, but there is a team established with expectations of when somebody cycles out and somebody new comes in, that this is the training you'll go through. These are the coaches in your plant that's going to help you understand what HACCP means to us at Maple Leaf. Because that's where we can drive those sort of very critical, again, back to the critical view on our own performance. That team can go out and talk with hourly employees that are on the line every day to say, we're assessing this particular hazard, be that we're going to be introducing gluten-free products in one of our facilities, speaking to the employees and saying, this is how it's going to be, this is what it means, these are some of the risks we've identified, what do you think in how you handle this every day? So that we get that connection with the practical, technical side of everyday making food into the HACCP team, which in our experience has been a bit of a disconnect in how our HACCP teams have functioned.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the developments that you've had and the journey that you're on in Maple Leaf, and you've come a long way. How do the management and workforce feel about consumer health and protection now? I mean, I'm interested in the confidence levels within the business from the journey that you've been on.
Right. Today, I think there is a healthy sense of confidence, and what I mean by that is it's back to this critical view. I think if you were to interview any of our employees on the floor, they would feel confident in that we send out great tasting food that's safe every day. There is that critical thinking, though, that you protect the product that you're making, that you have your hands on as an employee in our line every day, and that you're critical towards anybody that comes in and wants to make changes to it. So I think there is a general sense of confidence. Our consumers have certainly rewarded us with their business again after what happened, which I think is one of the best signs of trust. But the worst thing that could happen for us is if we accept that and become complacent. And that's why this critical thinking around our processes and the critical view on how we are actually performing every day, every hour, every second is so important. Because that's where we will get the immediate feedback that we can act on if something starts to slip. So I think that's really important for the confidence of our consumers.
Okay, that's great. I think that's an excellent place to end. So thank you very much, Lone, for being open and sharing with us today.